This is one of those games that my coach used to tell me this. There were no, the greatest thing about Coach Jimmy Johnson's speeches, by the way, his book over there, Swagger. Pick it up. It's a great Christmas item. JJ's speeches going out onto the field to play and out to the battlefield, they were Monday through Friday. The Saturday and Sunday things, Coach just reminded us, don't be the dumbest guy on the field. He knew he had guys making great, spectacular plays. He goes, but don't make the dumb one. Don't be the dumb guy. You're all sitting around going, hey, man. Jimmy's speeches were constantly motivating. Coach Johnson, I don't ever remember in my 3 years at UM ever hearing something shitty from that coach and that staff. But you know what they did? They came to you, reminded you, there's 10 deep behind you. Let's bring in my coach, Jimmy Johnson from Fox. Coach, right? I mean, your work was Monday through Friday, right? The Saturday and Sunday stuff, you just reminded us, don't be the dumbest guy in the building.
Yeah, you just got to make sure everybody prepares themselves. And so any type of motivation has got to be during the week when you're practicing. Everybody likes to play. Game day, please just put you guys out on the field and let you win the ball games. But, I actually talked on a show yesterday, and I was talking about Dan Campbell. I said, Dan Campbell, has taken that football team with Detroit, and he's given them toughness, and he's motivated that team. And I said, listen, everybody says they're making millions of dollars. They ought to be self-motivated. Well, that's BS. Everybody needs to be motivated, but the ones that really need to be motivated are the bottom half of the roster. The top 10 or 15 guys, they're going to go out there and play hard. But then you got about 40 guys, they're not real sure. And so you've got to make sure that they practice hard, they prepare themselves, they do what they've got to do to get ready for the ball game. They're the ones you've got to motivate. And that's what Dan Campbell's done with the Detroit Lions. He's made that team better and better and better as the last couple of years. They're a good football team now.
They absolutely are. And talked to Chris Spielman the other day, Coach, and there's just a really great vibe in that building now. Coach, I want to throw this at you here, and I've been harping on this thing with these dual threat guys. Go back to RG3, hell, even Michael Vick. Lamar Jackson, this will be the third year in a row that he's missed games, critical games that are seeding-wise for the AFC. And now you have Hurts. This is the second year now, and he's probably going to miss 2 games coming up here. Can you win a Super Bowl, Coach, and build a roster around a dual threat quarterback?
Well, I think it's going to be difficult because, like you say, they're going to get hurt. You look at the quarterbacks with the most consistency over the last, 30 or 40 years, it's been the drop back passer. Now, the Lamar Jacksons, the Hurts, the running quarterbacks, they're exciting and they can win a lot of games because most defenses, they don't prepare for some of that stuff. And so, it gives the offense a little bit of an edge when you have that 11th player that's unblocked. I mean, that they don't account for, he's running with the football. And so it gives the offense an edge, but it's very difficult to keep that quarterback healthy for the entire season.
Coach, are the Eagles the best team in the NFL, or do they have the best record? And I know that sounds contradicting because you kind of are who you are. But when I watch San Francisco, Coach, man, those linebackers, Nick Bosa, right, Trent Williams. I mean, I know they're a headless horseman at quarterback, but they're getting it done like you guys did. I think it was the year Aikman got injured. You guys put Steve Berline in. I mean, you guys won games that way. I mean, tell me, what's your take on the Eagles?
I think it would be a heck of a contest if we happen to see that. The 49ers have a fantastic defense. I went up to the Dolphin practice during training camp, and I watched them work against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I walked away so impressed with not only the starting offensive and defensive line, but the backup defense and offensive line. They really have a lot of depth in their line, and they have some great players. They have some older players, they're on defense, but they rotate them around to where they keep them fresh. So, and with the 49ers, their front four, they're going to put so much pressure on the passer, and they can play all kinds of coverages. And so I think it would be a heck of a contest if all their players are healthy. And then, of course, Brock Purdy, he's got to keep protecting the football as well.
Coach, I watched this game this weekend and all the hype being put around, especially with Dak. Coach, I know you're a believer in winning in the postseason and winning the big games, Oklahoma games, the Eagle games, the Super Bowl games, the playoff games. Coach, how big a game is this for Dak Prescott on Saturday? I mean, Coach, he's getting paid a lot, but
Right.
the postseason production, it's not there. He's got to win significant games, doesn't he?
I think not only for Dak, I think for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you look at the last 25 years, they haven't been to an NFC championship game. And so, playoff success is what you're looking for. And, everybody knew it's a very talented roster. Their roster is as talented as anybody in the league. But for some reason or another, they always have that critical mistake in a big ball game. They always have some slip-ups. They turn the ball over, or they have a bunch of penalties, or they have a snafu like not handing the football to the referee in the playoffs. And so if you look at the talent, if they play as well as what their talent says they are, hey, they can win it all. But in some of the big ball games, especially the playoffs, they haven't performed. And so the success of the Dallas Cowboys will be determined by how much success they have in the playoffs.
A couple last questions for Coach Johnson. Coach, I told people the last, and I was telling Phil Simms this the other day. I said, Coach Johnson didn't mind us talking trash during the week. But, boy, I'll tell you something. If we didn't deliver it, he was in our ass going, hey, man, receipts have to be cashed in and checks have to be cashed. And Jerome and I would always look at each other going, hey, you know what, man, you think we should taper it down? He goes, he hasn't said anything to us yet. But when I watch Micah Parsons, I mean, Coach, the kid forgot to get off the bus for the Jacksonville game, and the pass rush has been vaporized the last 2 weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
They keep telling me he's Lawrence Taylor. Well, I kind of see it sometimes. Give me your take on him. I mean, Pat Swilling was consistent. I just don't see the consistency with the guy.
Well, you haven't seen it here lately. Obviously he was fantastic last year, and for the most part, most of the early season. But teams are scheming against him.
Okay.
Teams are obviously, they're doubling, they're sliding, their protection, they're chipping him. They know where he's lined up.
You think they're wearing him down, Coach?
They could be wearing him down. I think he was a little banged up as well. And then there was a couple of games where they played him off the line of scrimmage. They didn't have him rushing. They had him playing as an inside linebacker. Now, he's fine as an inside linebacker if he's rushing the passer, but if he's dropping in the coverage, you're taking away a great pass rusher. So I think the scheme has hurt him a little bit. Like you say, he may be wearing down just a little bit. He's still a great, great talent, though.
Finally here, Coach. The MVP, if you were to give it, I know there's still some football left, so it's probably, I think it's a 3-horse race, and if Jalen doesn't play this weekend, I think that kind of like Wentz in 17 probably takes him out of the picture. It's Burrow, Mahomes, and Hurts. In your opinion, who's the leader going into Week 16?
I've got to go with Patrick Mahomes. You look at it with Hurts, a lot of the scheme, their surrounding talent, has a lot to do with it. Obviously, he's had a fantastic year. The injury may set him back just a little bit. Burrow had a little bit of a slow start, and he's coming on strong right now. As far as a pure talent, maybe I go with Joe Burrow, but Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. He does some things that no other player on planet Earth can do. He is fun to watch, and you thought he might take a step back when Tyreek Hill, went to the Dolphins, but please, he's putting up numbers and he's still winning football games. Now, occasionally he'll go out there and he'll throw a couple of interceptions, but he is so good he can overcome those interceptions.
Coach, the book reminded me of Coach Johnson. The guy I see on TV now is not really Jimmy Johnson. So I know that, you're kind of settled down now. I think being away from coaching has actually been the greatest thing in your life. But reading the book, I remember when I transferred there, and I'm sitting there, and I remember you looking at me going like this after you watched me a couple practices, and you knew I could play. You went, "Hey, I'm just gonna tell you one thing here. I don't need you. Make me want you." and I was like, "Yes, sir, man." And I'll tell you what, Coach. Reading the Swagger book, man, it just reminded me every single day on what the commitment to excellence was. It's really a great read.
Well, I appreciate it, Dan. And it was a pleasure coaching you. At times you were on the edge. And at times you made me really nervous, but as far as stepping on the field and playing, I knew I could always count on you. So, like I said, it was a pleasure coaching you. Like I said, but you made me nervous for a few years.
I'll tell you this too, Coach. I told Dave Wannstedt this 2 days ago. You know what's great about your coaching staff? You guys are the same people when I was 19 years old that you are today to me. Butch sent me a happy. I know I'm not going to wish you happy holidays, Coach, because I know that Santa guy. Hey, wait a minute. I know that Santa guy. Me and Aikman were talking about it. The Santa guy, I know all about that dude too, man. So Dave wished me happy holidays. And I told Dave, I go, that staff was so driven, but you know what? You guys are the same dudes that you were then that you are today. It's a true testament to the people you had around you.
Well, we enjoyed each other. We really had great love for one another. And we love winning football games, and that's what we did.
Absolutely. Coach, have a great rest of the week.
I got you, Dan. Good talking with you.
You bet. Jimmy Johnson, NFL on Fox. God, did I love playing for that man. He was just absolutely great. By the way, Swagger, the book, make sure you get the book, too. It's a great Christmas item there for you, too. So, see, I'll tell you, hey, Xander, see, I was a handful. Great player, but a handful. Holy cow. It's a great compliment from Jimmy. Thank you very much, Coach. It was a privilege to coach Big Sills. We got Michael